Hello everybody, this is Mothership here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Legend of the Sea Devils, which at the time of recording this only came out a few days ago. So let's just get right into this review. So, the plot is that the Sea Devils lost this ancient crystal and they're trying to get it back, and the Doctor and gang are on this big treasure hunt to stop the Sea Devils from getting it, because if they do, they can flood the entire planet with water. Now, there's parts of this that I have a problem with, parts I don't. Now, the first big plus of this is just the idea of Sea Devils, but pirates, is amazing. Pirate Sea Devils, 10 out of 10. I could not think of a more creative way to bring them back. Now, my problem is the general, actual plot. The plot they actually have is got a massive gaping plot hole right in the middle of it that I noticed as soon as they explained it. But I'm going to get to that later. Now, I do want to talk about the pacing. So, it starts off with the Pirate Queen walking through the village, then she breaks the statue and a sea devil pops out and it kills everybody in the village, pretty much. And then it just cuts to the TARDIS materializing on a beach after the title sequence. Now, I thought that this takes place in the future by, I don't know, a few years or something. But then we hear a scream and we find out, no, that whole thing was happening while our crew was just getting on the beach and Dan dressed up as a pirate. Now, by the way, Dan dressed up as a pirate was actually pretty funny, but it's just terrible pacing. 5 minutes in, you're already stuck in completely to the plot. And so many shots in the trailers are in the episode, a large amount of the shots happen early in the episode. So it does give off the impression that the episode's just throwing everything in at the first 10 minutes and then it's just gonna leave it dry. Which isn't really what happens, but it doesn't give a great first viewing impression. But even just 7 minutes in, and you're already seeing the Sea Devil pirate ship, and that's just bad pacing, because you immediately see it, and it just felt like it happened far, far too quickly. Now, I do have a big plus for this, and that is the Sea Devil design. Unlike Warriors of the Deep, which made them look a little goofy, these designs, they don't look goofy. They've got a lot of work put into them to make them look good. They're emotive, they're expressive. Nicholas Briggs does a perfect job at voicing Sea Devils. They really do sound like the originals, which is a big plus for me because I love the voices of the original Sea Devils. And generally, overall, the design looks great. It's a perfect carry-on from the original episode, where it's basically just that, except less goofy. It's got the same shape of the heads, same colours, they're filmed well, everything about them, in terms of design and voice acting, is great. And I really like the way that they call humans land crawlers in this. That's just a big plus for me. It's a cool little, it's a cool little thing to call the humans for the Sea Devils, and I like it. So, you've also got the problem, however, of them not actually as characters being written that well, because with the Silurians and Sea Devils, in all of their stories, you have had this moral complex of them being like humans. They have this political system. You've got the good ones, the bad ones, and it's the same with Ice Warriors, which is why I love all three of them so much, because you can do so much with them as characters. Because unlike the other villains, where they're actors villains, you can use the Sea Devils, Silurians, and Ice Warriors as characters to mirror humanity in terms of their political systems and how flawed they can be. And, it always gets you rooting for this idea of a Doctor Who future where the Ice Warriors, the Sea Devils, and the Silurians have all formed this, and the humans have all formed this, Earth Solar System Federation where they all work together. And I just love that idea. So, the thing is, in this episode, unlike every Sea Devil and Silurian story before it, there is no moral dilemma, no moral complex. The Sea Devils are just evil, and that's it. They're just evil. And I really have a big problem with that. I mean, you need to have the Sea Devils written with something substantial to keep you hooked, and I didn't feel that hooked during this episode. So that is a big shame. However, the Sea Devils' design and voice acting does keep enough of a presence for me to enjoy them on the screen. But then, there are some really bad special effects in this episode. For example, when the TARDIS first lands, there's this pirate ship, which is Madame Ching's pirate ship, and you've also, it just looks so fake. It doesn't look like it's actually there. Same with the rain effects over there. And you've also got the Sea Devil coming out of the statue, and when it moves its eye, you can really see that they're just distorting a statue. You can see bits of it clipping, and that they're just stretching it. And on top of that, even when the Sea Devils talk, it's clear they didn't have the budget to make them properly talk, so they just kind of distort parts of their mouth, which makes it look really weird. And one of the worst effects is the stone skipping, where it's clear it's a CGI stone, CGI water splashes, looks incredibly fake. Now, but on the plus side, you've also got, for example, all the effects of the, water vortex when the ships get spat out, the Sea Devils, ghost ship, Flying Dutchman type thing, all the underwater sequences, and the Hua Shen. By the way, amazing name. Looks great in all of its shots. It's a properly cool looking sea serpent thing, and it fits the entire general atmosphere really well. However, again, like the Sea Devils, it's not delivered too well. It's just very short. There's not much to it. It's barely in it. It's not as bad as Samarkand, but it's got about the same inclusion as Samarkand, where it's just there. It's got about 5 minutes of screen time. It's barely in the episode. Actually doesn't affect anything. It's clear it was just there for the trailers and for spectacle, and to introduce a proper, cool-looking Sea Devil monster, but it wasn't really much more. It didn't get much more inclusion. And, stuff like that does lead into the episode having an extremely short runtime, Only about 50 minutes. When you look at Revolution of the Daleks, which was much, much longer, and even that didn't quite get everything it needed to do. I wanted to see more of the Dalek Civil War. I wanted a more slow burn build-up. I wanted more of Captain Jack, but we didn't get that because it was a one-part story. So, yeah, overall that part, disappointing, the Hua Shen, even though it has an incredibly cool name. So now let's talk about my biggest problem, and this is all got to do with the Silurians. Now, I feel like they deserved a mention. Even though I'm glad they didn't show up, because they would have probably just overshadowed the Sea Devils like they did in Warriors of the Deep, I do still feel like they should have gotten a mention. Because they're brethren after all, and there's not even any hint of them being cousins in this story. So your average new viewer who's never seen a Sea Devil before will get a completely wrong impression of them and think that they're just your average Doctor Who villain, except they're on Earth, and they're just odd Silurians, but in water. And, you don't want to have that image. You want to bring in the true core and soul of the Sea Devils, which isn't in this story. So, for example, their main plot, their idea is once they get the crystal, which is basically what this entire episode is centered around, once they get the crystal, they can use it to raise the tides, and they can use it to flood the entire planet, so that it'll all be Sea Devil territory, and they can drown all the humans. So, my problem with this is, The entire plan has a gaping plot hole. So let's go back to their previous appearance in Warriors of the Deep. So in that story, the Silurians need to attack the base. However, they're the last surviving members of the Triad, and there's not enough of them, so they reawaken a bunch of Sea Devil warriors to assault the base and prime the missiles that they need to prime. So, my problem is, in that one, they've even got a commander, the Sea Devil commander, Vorshak. So, it's clear they even have a rank, and they're given orders, so they don't have bad blood between the Silurians, so why would they make life so much harder for them? Why would they want to get rid of all land masses on the planet and make it all Sea Devil territory? It doesn't make sense. The Silurians would need to, have a part of their empire as well. So it just doesn't work as an entire whole plot. So the entire point of the episode makes absolutely no sense. So that is one of the biggest reasons that weighs it down. However, there's also a lot of other negatives, such as the bad pacing, and it's sometimes not even being able to carry itself with the visual effects. So, overall, I'd give Legend of the Sea Devils about a 6 out of 10. It was alright, it didn't do too much. It would probably be a 5 if it weren't for the Sea Devils and how they were just had a good presence for most of the time. So, yeah, set up a lot, didn't end up delivering on much of it, and was overall a bit boring and didn't keep my interest. Really, I kind of got a bit bored halfway through. However, that next time trailer though, Daleks, the Lone Cyberman, Sasha Dewan's Master, Ace, and the most surprising bit, even Tegan returning. Oh boy am I excited for the 13th Doctor's final episode.